Hi Libra, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your May 2022 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who liked, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's a Celtic Oracle spread as always, and also pull some Oracle cards and a Mudra card for you guys. We're actually going to start the reading off by rolling those astrology dice we have in front of us to get an idea of where your folks should be as far as that goes. Okay, so we have Scorpio, and for you guys, it's actually your second house of possession, self-worth, finances, and there's going to be a full moon eclipse in Scorpio, so it definitely makes sense to see that pop up, and that'll be around the middle of May. We have Mars. Mars is going to be in Pisces for, I think, at least the first half of May, maybe even a little bit more than that, and then it's going to eventually move into Aries, so from your 6th house to your 7th house. And we have 4. So 4th house for you guys is Capricorn. And as far as that goes, we've had Pluto there for a really long time. Not much else going on there, astrologically speaking, although I will say we just had that full moon in Libra, which is your sign, of course, and it was making a square with Pluto. So could be some issues coming up around your home, your roots, your mother possibly, but yeah, that's what I see with that. All right, so starting with the main spread, we have the Wheel of Fortune, which is Jupiter energy, and challenging that we have the 8 of Cups, which is Pisces energy. So did mention the fact that we're going to have Mars in Pisces for quite a bit. So yeah, for some of you, could just be saying the timing to leave something behind could be coming up for you guys this month, but there may be a bit of reluctance to do so. So given that this is 6th house energy for you guys, it could be possibly a work situation, or 6th house can represent routines as well. So possibly even just something that you might do out of habit, but it doesn't necessarily fulfill you anymore. But you just got so used to that routine that you might not have even come to the realization consciously, why am I still doing this? It doesn't even fulfill me the way it once used to. So it could just be saying with the Wheel of Fortune coming up this month, you may be looking at those things and leaving something behind. But yeah, whatever it is, it looks like the timing to leave it behind is right. All right, in the foundation position, we have the Ace of Pentacles. So yeah, for some of you, this could definitely be some kind of work situation. Maybe you come to the realization that what you're doing on a day-to-day basis possibly isn't fulfilling you anymore, right? So you could just start to think of ideas of, okay, well, if I do make this leap, where would I go next, right? So at least you could get those gears turning this month. All right. Past position, we have the 4 of Swords, which is a Libra card, and we have the High Priestess, which I usually view as Pisces energy. So this could just be saying that you guys might have been in a really reflective, introspective mood lately, possibly going through a healing process, but yeah, possibly trying to tap into your intuition as well. Maybe even around the situation, like I said, if you feel like, okay, is the timing right for me to leave this thing behind, something along those lines. But yeah, it looks like you've definitely been in a reflective mood lately. And I will say, like I mentioned, we just had that full moon in your sign, and it was actually in these degrees of Libra. So this could even just be pointing to the full moon we just had. That could have had you in this energy. All right, in the present position, we have Temperance, which is the major arcana card for Sagittarius. 3 of Swords, more Libra energy here, and the 8 of Pentacles, Virgo energy. So the way I'm seeing this could just be saying that possibly through a conversation that you might have with someone, given that Sagittarius energy for you guys is your 3rd house communication, could bring some hurts back up to the surface. And saying this reminds me of the fact that there will also be a Mercury retrograde in May, pretty much wedged between the eclipses. So yeah, it's going to start in Gemini and move into Taurus. So yeah, possibly you're having just a conversation with someone, right? And maybe it brings up an old hurt, or possibly you're speaking with someone about an old hurt intentionally, right? But for others of you, it might be one of those things where you might get an unintentional trigger. But I feel like this is saying with that 8 of Pentacles, that could be what actually sparks you to realize that you have to do some inner work around the situation. So stuff looks like there'll be a conscious effort on your part to make some self-improvement in that regard. And of course, for some of you, this could even be around finances as well, right? So again, maybe there was some kind of a disappointment, right? Maybe you were going to partner up with someone, let's say, and maybe that deal fell through, right? So now it's back to the drawing board, right? Given that we did see the Scorpio energy, which is their second house, and there's going to be that eclipse. So could be one of those situations too. But yeah, either way, it looks like you're actually going to be making adjustments that are for your benefit. In the near future position, we have the Magician and the King of Wands. So yeah, whatever the situation is, maybe you might realize that, okay, again, like I said, just a generic situation. Maybe you're going to partner up with someone on something and they may back out of the deal last second, right? But for whatever reason, that actually seems to light a spark in you to say, you know what, I could actually take this on myself anyway, right? I have the tools at my disposal. I'm going to go ahead and move forward with it anyway. So with that King of Wands energy, I feel like that's pointing more to you guys stepping into that role, right? Like, okay, I could be self-reliant. I could get this done myself, right? Maybe you still would have ideally liked to have partnered up with someone around the situation, but like, you know what? I could take care of it myself rather than just let the whole thing fall by the wayside. All right. In the position of your influence on a situation, we have the Knight of Swords in reverse. So this is actually a Gemini energy here, and this card tends to notoriously pop up in the readings when there's a Mercury retrograde, but usually in the upright. And usually for me, that makes sense anyway, as far as retrograde representing moving backward through the zodiac, and then we see the horse moving toward the past. But here we see in the reverse, it's actually moving the other way. So I could see this coming out a couple different ways. For some of you, could just be saying to just be mindful of the retrograde, right, and make sure that the way you're communicating is coming across the way that you're intending. And for others of you, this could just be saying that this could all be inner work, like I said, especially given that Eight of Pentacles energy for you guys is 12th house, right, where it's like, okay, maybe you have a conversation with someone that triggers something in you. You might not address it with them directly, but you might realize, okay, you know what? That probably shouldn't have triggered me that way. Let me put the work in to put that behind me, right? So it could just be saying that you may not be communicating to this person just yet. Hey, when we had the discussion about XYZ, I felt this way, right? It could just be one of those things where you're still internalizing it, possibly until you feel like you have done the work. All right, in the environment position, we have the 10 of Wands. So this is Sagittarius energy here. So again, we see the communication house for you guys. Yeah, I mean, whatever this is, it looks like it's something that you've probably held on to for a long time. So at a certain point, you probably will want to address it. Like I said, but again, it could just be that through that conversation, you come to the realization that these are the things you've been holding on to for a long time, right? So it might be that realization, like we said with the Eight of Cups in the challenge position too, right? Like, okay, you've just been holding on to these things maybe out of habit, and you're realizing, why am I still carrying this around, right? So for some of you, that could be an adjustment that you're going to be making in that regard. Let's see what else comes to mind with this. Yeah, I mean, that's more or less it. Like I said, at some point you might want to come forward and communicate around this thing, but for a lot of you, it looks like, at least for the time being, you're taking it upon yourself to process it. All right, in the hopes or fears position, we have the Hanged Man, which I usually view as Pisces energy, and the Page of Swords. So yeah, seeing these two cards come up together, tying it into what we've been talking about, could just be saying that maybe you're just still waiting for that right moment to communicate, right? So it could just be saying that you're hoping to buy some more time to truly make sure that you fully see things from every angle, right, before you do come forward and communicate. So this Knight of Swords in reverse could be a level of restraint on your part, where you might have the realization that, you know what, let me make sure that I am seeing the situation clearly, and let me make sure that I can get myself across clearly, right? So for some of you, this could represent you are going to at least hope for some more time to process this. All right, and in the outcome position, we have the Four of Wands. So this could point to a couple of different things. For one, this is Aries energy, which for you guys is your opposite sign. And at this point, I know I mentioned the Wheel of Fortune was Jupiter, but I can't remember if I did mention that Jupiter is actually going to be moving into Aries during the month of May. Eventually, it'll go back into Pisces for a bit, but yeah, we're going to at least get that preview of Jupiter in your seventh house. So that could improve partnerships. So whether we're talking about romantic partnerships, business partnerships, as long as the work's being done right. So I would say timeline wise, it looks like you're right on time as far as processing anything that you may have needed to process from the past. So when that transit does come through, especially given that at some point it will cross Chiron, so this looks like just really good timing for you guys to process some things to clear the way for a much more positive landscape when it comes to that area of your life. So yeah, like I said, that could be a one-to-one relationship, business partnership, signing contracts, you name it. But yeah, looks like you're definitely going to have a bit of a celebratory atmosphere toward the end of the month, so pretty good there. All right, and bottom of the deck we have the Seven of Wands. So yeah, for you guys, we see Leo energy here again, and for you, that's your 11th house of friendships, groups, hopes, and wishes. So um, possibly this could even be a group that you've been interacting with, right? So, all right, a super generic example, since I'm looking at cups there, and we're talking about friends, right? Let's just say maybe out of habit, you always go out with your friends every Friday night, right? You guys get some drinks or whatever after work or something like that. And maybe for a time it was enjoyable, right? But now you're like, yeah, I do it, but it's almost out of habit, right? It's like that automatic thing. It's part of your schedule, almost like, okay, every Friday after work we go out and get drinks, right? But you might come to the realization, yeah, it's not really fulfilling me anymore, right? So you might be really evaluating the groups that you're dealing with and are they still a good fit for you now, things along those lines. And interestingly enough, beneath that we see the Queen of Swords, which is actually the court card for Libra. So yeah, it looks like you guys are definitely just getting yourselves back on track this month for sure. Okay, so moving on to your four agreements card, we have always do your best, and it says practice makes the master. Okay, it says by doing your best over and over, you can master the art of transformation. By doing your best, the habits of misusing your word, taking things personally, and making assumptions will become weaker and less frequent with time. So, pretty positive message there. Like we said, you just had a full moon in your sign, so that could point to some transformation there. We're just about to start eclipse season as well, and those eclipses will be in your second house and eighth house. There's going to be a Mercury retrograde starts in your ninth house, moves to your eighth house. There's definitely some energy there for transformation, and like I said, Jupiter moving into your opposite sign as well. So, hopefully that resonates with you in some way. All right. From the Wisdom of the Oracle deck, we have cleaned it up. There we go. There's the artwork, and the number is 21. So let's see what that has to say. Okay, it says getting to the core of a situation, freedom from a burden, cleaning house, sweeping away what is no longer needed. The Oracle's message: ever feel so bogged down with emotional gunk that you can't think straight? Could you be surrounded by physical clutter in your home also? Too much work? Overwhelmed? Time to clean house. Every item out of place natters away at you. Every unresolved resentment, every comparison to others that leads to a sense of lack, takes up energetic space. Every unpaid bill just adds up to an unnecessary feeling of being overwhelmed. Now is the time to free yourself by energetically cleaning house. Just do it. Make room for the miracles that are lining up for you. So, pretty positive message there, and it also made me think of the fact that, like we said, we're seeing Jupiter move from your sixth house to your seventh house. So, for example, maybe you guys have just been taking on a lot, right, with that Jupiter energy, because people tend to automatically think luck with Jupiter, but it's also expansion. So, that area of life could have been super busy for you, and of course, part of sixth house energy sometimes can be self-criticism as well. So maybe you guys could have been hard on yourselves around a certain situation, and you could feel that start to lift as Jupiter shifts to your seventh. Hopefully that resonated. All right, the relationship message says time to clear the air, take a look at your side of the street, and say what's on your mind. Sweeping away the old stuff so that a spring breeze can flow through with new energy. It's the perfect time to do an inventory of your dynamics and see what's yours and what's not yours to clean up the relationship. Everyone brings some baggage. Sort through what you brought with you and let go of what is no longer needed. Become unencumbered and your relationship will flourish. So yeah, pretty positive message there as well. We did mention how it could point to a relationship dynamic for the most part, so hopefully that resonated there too. And the prosperity message says simple things like opening your mail, paying bills, sorting out your timetable, making lists, and getting organized is what the symbol means when it comes to your work. Make time for yourself too. This card is a sign you may be overburdened and overwhelmed. It's okay to say no. You'll prosper even more if you do. So yeah, that definitely makes me think of that Ten of Wands energy, right? Which could be taking on too much. So we kind of addressed that in the main spread as well, so hopefully that resonated. And lastly, we'll move on to your Mudra card. So this is your Mudra here. It's the Linga Mudra, and the keyword for it is virility. Okay, there's the info on it if you want to pause it or take a screenshot to read what it has to say. But under benefits, it says warms the body, relieves cold and flu symptoms, reduces lethargy and laziness, increases self-confidence and willpower. So if that sounds like a Mudra you think would be beneficial for you guys, we'll put the name in the description of the video as always. We'll wrap up there, and I'll see you guys next month. All right, bye.